Yeah, for anyone who wasn't at the game today, there was a little impression of our transitional play. Hey, for Liam Walsh, I bet you're wishing you did some of that in the second half around the 65th minute. Anyway, I just sat through Luton Town 0, Cardiff City 1, and I don't think that it's going to be as divisive this time, is it? Okay, I'll start with the positives this time. We did create more chances. We're always going to create more chances because we're playing a team who wanted to come and attack us, unlike Wimbledon and Wigan in the same way. And when we did, we had some absolutely golden chances to put the ball in the back of the net. Naki Wells being the pick of the chances probably in the first half. And it must be said that Cardiff did very well at stifling some of our play in the first half. And of course, their keeper should get a mention as well. What the hell happened to Ethan Horvath, guys? Never mind. Yeah, Trollo's like a right keeper, doesn't he? Unfortunately for us, we created more. Nordas, I thought, did well. Coming on from the start, when he could hold the ball up, when it was actually aimed towards him, I thought he did well. He allowed others to run in behind him as well. I thought Wells added a bit more press as well, but finishing product from a player that we know can do a lot better, regardless of being rusty, was beyond disappointing, really. I think Saville had a good game. He was very unlucky not to score with his shot that got well saved by the keeper as well. Okay, so, on reflection, some positives. I think we had something like 24, 25 shots on goal, about 7 of them on target. Make it what you will with that statistic. Shall we go with some of the more negative stuff? I mean, I don't even know whether we just at this point scrap everything I'm going to say and find a recording from this season, last season, even some of the season before, of us talking about a system that doesn't work. It's not just the system, it's how you play it. So I'm not going to keep banging on about the same thing, but it is how you play it. I mean, you either play a 5 at the back or a 3 at the back to be defensive and double up on wingers, or you play it in order to push those wing backs really far forward and attack, or, amalgamate the two systems. I get a whole point of that thing. But, if you look at our right-hand side, you've got Longwick again put out of position as a right wing back. And okay, he's done all right there, but bear in mind he was playing Wimbledon and Peterborough at this point, and neither of those teams really had much interest in coming and attacking our goal. It's a bit different when you're up against a Chris Willock who looks like he had the best game for Cardiff since joining them. There's no attacking impetus. For me, the best way to deal with attacking threat like Willock is do what Cardiff did for the majority of the first half to Ali, and that's keep him in your half. Okay, keep him in their own half. If you keep them in their own half, there's not much damage that they can do. Too easy. We allowed them to come onto us down the wings at will and attack us. And Willock was excellent. Don't get me wrong. His goal was excellent, although gifted by Walsh. More on that later. But if you sit back and allow players with pace, energy to get at you, then it's likely they're going to get round to you. Now, Makosso, he's had 3 games out for a stupid incident at Peterborough, and it showed, really. It boggled my mind a bit because he got back in time because he's a quick player to stop Willock and then still allowed him through. There were about 3 occasions in the first half where I thought to myself, he's got there, he's in front of him, and yet the cross comes across. There's a pullback, a low cross that still comes in and is very dangerous, and McGuinness or Naismith has to clear up. How that's happening when you've got 2 central defenders there, it's a bit beyond me. On the other side, they didn't actually get in as much. I think Naismith did a much better job of anticipating where the ball was going to go. Ali one-on-one defensively is always going to be a problem. And I thought Ashford had a very good game on that side as well. Right. 5 at the back doesn't work. We know already. But it's not just 5 at the back as well. You're going to play 5 at the back and you're going to play creative players like Walsh and Clark. Then don't just hoof it forward every single time. Look, we all know they're vulnerable from crosses. We all know that they can be seen, this Cardiff iteration can be seen as vulnerable from long balls. But just pumping it up there for the vast majority of the first half and hoping we get on the second ball is negative, to say the least. It didn't work. And on the odd occasion that it did work, the players that we had following up, i.e. Walsh and Clark, were then giving the ball back to them. I mean, Walsh, I said we'd get to in a minute. I might as well get on it now. Look, my assessment of Walsh was pretty divisive in the last one that I did of these. I don't think that's going to be the case now. He gave the ball away for fun. Look, needed to be dragged off way earlier than he was. I get you don't want to kill the lad's confidence, but you don't want to lose the game. And essentially, absolutely ridiculous decision from Walsh to try and dribble past half the Cardiff team from your own box is the reason why Willock got the ball and was able to score. Come off earlier, that doesn't happen. Clark didn't have his best game either. We give Clark a bit of a break because we know how good he can be and has been as well, but need to keep hold of the ball a bit better. They just wanted it. They just pressed the ball a lot better than we did. So, look, we wingbacks till we're blue in the face. It brings up other questions, It's not just the system, recruitment. Why aren't we recruiting in the areas that we so desperately need? Why aren't we getting a right back? If Walters is the answer, what's the question? I'm sorry, but it really isn't. From what I've seen of him, why aren't we recruiting there actively? Why wasn't that the first bit of business that we did, regardless of the Doughty situation? Doughty was a wing back, arguably. At least it was one of the arguments. We played a 5 at the back in the first place under Rob Edwards, purely suiting Alfie Doughty because he was never trusted as a left back. Well, so even if he was to stay with us, we still have the majority of players in our squad that suit a team with wingers in it. And we're not playing it. So riddle me that one. Why haven't we recruited there? Bramall looks rusty, but can come good. We still need players in those areas as well. Right. Okay. And then it's the most disappointing bit for me. 5 at the back, I fully expected, I'll be honest. I don't think anybody expected any different. The team wasn't that different to what I expected either. But the biggest disappointment for me, just the negativity. It's so negative. We're sitting back at home. We are Luton, who are bookies' favourites to go up first. I'm not suggesting we'll walk the lead or that we'll go up first. It certainly didn't. And you can have a look in the description below for our prediction video. Our 1 to 24s, I put Luton third, just spoiler alert. So I don't expect us to be first in the league, but I expect us at Kenilworth Road to impose ourselves on the game. This is how we are going to play. Not, there you go, Cardiff, have the ball for 2/3 of our pitch, spray it around all you want, and we'll just put a tackle in right at the end. Okay, we'll just put some bodies on the line, hopefully, and block it out, or rely on our excellent goalkeeper to get us out the mud again. Why are we letting teams dictate play? I mean, even though we had the majority of possession in the other 2 games, we certainly didn't impose ourselves on Wimbledon or Wigan either. We had lots of possession, but it was in our own first third of the pitch. Cardiff were allowed to dominate, and they did. And they picked their areas they wanted to play, and they played through Ruben Colwell, who we all know is probably their most dangerous player. They played through him, and they played out to the wingers in Willock, who were able to cut inside, they were able to spray it across, and we just allowed them to do it. It wasn't until the second half and the first 20 minutes or so before they scored that we decided that actually maybe it's better to start pressing the ball in their half rather than ours. We're at home. If we're away from home at Cardiff, kind of get it. But even then, it's so negative. And you're playing negative football with attack-minded players. It doesn't work. And then, of course, when we do get the ball, because of our shape, because of where we are, we've got the ball in positions where we're less able to attack. And that did change in the second half. And particularly, I thought when Kadira came on, he made a big difference because, of course, we have now suddenly got some attacking impetus down the right-hand side as well as the left. And midfielders like Saville being willing to get forward. In fact, at one point, Makosso just had enough and ran the length of the pitch himself towards the end of the game too. But we just don't seem to have the desire or the impetus to impose ourselves on the game of football. And I'm not even going to, point fingers at a lackluster support and crowd. I was watching it today. I wasn't there. I have other commitments. We have to go away this evening. But you can even see it on Sky that the crowd were right up for it to start with. First 10 minutes. It was only after we gave the ball away for fun for the first 10 minutes, gave them the attacking impetus, that the crowd started to get irate, fed up and frustrated. The crowd really pushed the players the first start of that game, first 10, 15 minutes, and the players just didn't respond to it. And while we're on cliches as well as formation, of course, we've got the old cliche of it's the third game in a 3-game week. We love that one as well. Just run it back, everything. So, formation, desire, last one for me, pace, speed of the game. I don't mean the pace of players, but speed of the game. We are so slow. This is the first team for me, apart from Coventry in the Cup, and even they look rusty because of where they were in their season. This is the first team that wanted to play football at championship pace, and we were miles off it. We were so slow. We dithered on the ball. They got it back every single time. For that first 30, 40 minutes, it was like we were playing in quicksand. Players taking an age to make decisions. And by the time the decision is made, the forward pass has disappeared. That player's been marked out of the game. Even the sideways pass has disappeared. A lot of times, this is where the issues with Walsh lie. So slow. Why aren't we working on this? So many times Bloomfield last season and a bit this season has talked about playing the ball quickly, opening teams up, putting the ball in threatening positions. We're not going to do that if we play at the pace of a snail. We were so slow in our decision making, in all of our build-up play, and we became utterly predictable. Cardiff could just put pressure on the ball at will, and we couldn't do anything about it. And it's a concern because, they're the kind of teams that we're going to need to compete with if we want any chance of fighting for the playoffs, let alone the top two. So I found that really, really disappointing. They outfought us, they outthought us, they outpositioned us, and they outpaced us throughout that game. Other things to point out. Walsh, I've mentioned already, just a poor game. I'm not going to go in, too harsh on him. Bloomfield then has to take him off and he doesn't, but God knows what he was thinking for some of the passes that he made, just allowing them to come in, and God knows what he was thinking when Saville does the hard work. He manages to get the ball away from, I think it was Willett, forgive me if I'm wrong. He manages to get the ball back. It falls to Walsh's feet. Just boot it, mate. Just boot it. No, he doesn't boot it. He doesn't even try and pass it. He tries to run past. There must have been 5 or 6 players there. Typified his performance today. And of course, they took the chances. Nahki Wells, a couple of golden opportunities. Really poor. In finishing, look, he's rusty, but we know his quality. He should be doing a lot better there. We've got to be ruthless in those situations. So those things. I watched the Matt Bloomfield post-match as well, which the tone of which is going to annoy a lot of people. It talks all about positives, didn't mention our lack of pace, our lack of fight or anything else. For me, we had about 20 minutes in that game where I thought, okay, this is all right. And that was the first 20 minutes of the second half until they scored. Apart from that, Cardiff absolutely dominated the game, and fair play to Cardiff. They're playing with very few new signings. They've got lots and lots of young players in their team, and they just, like we said against Bradford away, wanted it more than we did. So there we go. Where that leaves us, well, we got a week now until the Burton away game, and we've got to make some signings, right? We have got to sort out this squad and fill in the obvious gaps, because if we don't stand a chance of getting top 6, let alone top 2. And then the style of play and the formation has to adapt accordingly too. Right, well, then one positive, one negative. Ollie's back next week for the Burton game reaction, and back to the usual schedule from there. Like and subscribe, and also, of course, anything that you agree or disagree with in the comments. It's always good to have a read of what other people made of the game too. In the meantime, we can only get better. We've been here before, haven't we? Come on, you Hatters.